right, folks, welcome back. Before we bring in the great Senator Tommy Tuberville of Alabama, I just want to play this incredibly important quote from Prime Minister Netanyahu, who said it today. Please take another listen.
Just as the United States would not agree to a ceasefire after the bombing of Pearl Harbor or after the terrorist attack of 9/11, Israel will not agree to a cessation of hostilities with Hamas after the horrific attacks of October 7th.
All right, joining me now, aforementioned Senator from Alabama, Mr. Tommy Tuberville, Armed Services Committee. Senator Tuberville, I'm sure you heard that. I mean, he's making a really important point. And I don't, you know, all this U.S. jabber about ceasefires or humanitarian pauses or other forms of cessation, you know, we didn't do that when our existence was being questioned. Why the heck should we force it upon Israel? I don't understand it, Senator. And I think Bibi Netanyahu put it very, very well today. I just wonder if the National Security Council and the State Department of Joe Biden heard him.
And the UN.
Yes.
There's all kind of these groups, Larry, that needs to be closed down. But, you know, you hate it for civilians, but you know, you have to give it to Israel. They did bomb some, but they also were sending out pamphlets, as you said. They told them, get out. We're coming in, and we're going to take over Hamas. You know, the thing that you watch is Hamas didn't come after military bases in Israel. They came after civilians, and it was awful. I've seen the pictures. You've seen them. You don't want to even look at them. It gives you a nightmare, but it's awful. It's absolutely awful, and you can tell the Israeli people are bound and determined now to do what they need to do to keep Hamas from doing this again, and it's going to be very, very interesting. But if you talk about chaos, Larry, there's chaos all over the world, and I don't think Joe Biden can spell chaos, but he's managed to ride the fence long enough to put everybody, I mean everybody around the world in harm's way.
You know, Senator, that's an important point you made. Hamas didn't go after military targets. They went after civilian targets. You know, I'd like to put that point in the bright lights because that is really important. And then the Biden administration is asking Israel to hold to a completely different standard. I mean, that is not what an ally and a dear friend should do.
No, this is their war. Israel's been fighting this for a long time. They put up with a lot. Both sides have had battles back and forth, but this went a step too far. 1,400 civilians, a few military people, but they basically went after civilians, and enough's enough. And we need to support them. We need to give them money. We'll probably have some kind of a vote on that this week. Now, I'm also for giving money, but I'm also for closing our border, because, Larry, the first thing that we should have done as soon as this happened, close our borders. There's over 200,000 or 300,000 Middle Eastern people that have crossed that border in the last 2.5 years. We're in trouble. This country is in trouble. We're going to have a 9/11 a month if we don't watch it. But Joe Biden could care less. His administration's asleep at the wheel.
Senator, you're going to oppose any omnibus supplemental bill that would include, for example, a couple of $2 billion for more catch and release, basically, at the southern border. And then you and a lot of others, you want to try to prevent and then have a bigger discussion, separate discussion of the Ukraine funding.
Exactly. Separate discussion. It's a different situation. Right now would be a great time to negotiate over in Ukraine and Moscow to get this thing stopped, because they pretty much have a stalemate as we speak. There's not going to be a lot of fighting happening. We got to get this conflict over with. It's costing the American taxpayers an arm and a leg, and it's costing a lot of lives in Ukraine and Russia. There's no reason to have this, but this is very, very concerning about what's going on in Israel, because, again, Joe Biden's trying to ride the fence. You can't ride the fence in something like this. We are the superpower. We make decisions, but we've got to let them know, Israel, that we are their friend and we're going to stick with them. They are our #1 ally.
Last one, Senator Tuberville. Biden has nominated Jack Lew. He's a former Treasury Secretary. During the Obama years, he was one of the architects of the Iranian appeasement policy. They want to nominate him to be the U.S. ambassador to Israel. What's the state of play there, and can this thing be stopped?
Well, I hope we can stop it, Larry. He was directly involved in bringing down the sanctions that President Trump was involved with helping put Iran back against the wall. He doesn't need to be the ambassador to Israel. I hope Israel has something to say about this. But again, Joe Biden I don't know who he's listening to. His cohorts in the Democratic side of the Congress and the Senate will vote for whoever he sends over. But send somebody over that can help. They don't have anybody in the administration that can negotiate or stand up for Israel on behalf of the United States. It's an absolute clown show when it comes to any kind of negotiation that the Biden administration wants to do or tries to do.
Yep, can't disagree with that. Senator Tuberville, sir, as always, great to see you, great to hear from you. Thanks for coming back on the show.